How to make any woman invest emotionally so you don't have to. Guys, if you're always the one holding the connection together, always checking in, always making sure things don't, fall apart, this video is going to explain why that's happening and how to flip it without chasing, forcing, or playing games. And I've mentioned this in previous videos, but attraction does not grow when you do more. It grows when she feels the space to feel something. Let me explain. So let's address the problem. Most guys are trying to make a woman invest emotionally by being consistent, by being available, understanding, and even patient. Most guys are thinking, if I show her that I'm solid, she'll feel safe and invest back. But what actually happens is she relaxes. She's more calm now, right? And you end up doing all the emotional work because she knows in the back of her mind, he's there, he's always checking up, he's always available, he's always got me, to sum it up in nice words. And that's not because you did anything wrong. Honestly, you're doing the right thing and you're thinking this is what you need to do in order to retain her, in order to make sure everything falls into line and how you want it to be. But the truth is that investment doesn't come from safety alone. Truth, what most people won't tell you is a woman invests emotionally, always, and all men should know that. Women are more attentive to their emotions, they're emotional beings. So a woman invests emotionally when she feels something move inside her. She has to feel that spark. No matter what you say through words, no matter what you show, she has to feel it. If she doesn't feel it, 9 times out of 10, she will leave. She will find something else that gives her that spark inside. Men is different. We have attraction towards different types of things in our women, right? But women, they feel it emotionally. That's why you see certain people with certain women that with certain things. Yes, money comes in factor. Yes, this, looks, all that. But initially, for a real lasting relationship, especially where a woman is more initially invested, it comes from something deeper. And that's how she feels inside. Not when everything's explained. Not when everything is predictable. Not when you're always there to smooth things out. When you're always there to smooth things over. When you remove that tension, uncertainty, and contrast, you also remove the emotional signal that tells her, I need to lean in more. I need to lean in here. And this is where men mess up at majority of the time. And I tell you guys this, especially during our calls. When they sense her pulling back, when they sense her being less responsive, when they sense her being less expressive, they don't slow down. They add more effort. They're texting more, they're explaining more, they're giving her more reassurance. But all that does is that tells her, you don't actually have to show up. I got it from here. I've got this covered. Keep doing you. Keep doing what you want to do. Keep putting the effort that you want to give. Does that make sense? You have to switch the dynamic ASAP. If you want her to be emotionally invested into you the same way that you are, and if anything, you need to have her more emotionally invested to you more. Because this is the shift that will change everything. Making her invest emotionally isn't about doing less to punish her. I want to make sure that's clear. Making her invest emotionally is not about doing less on your part to cover her. It's about doing less emotional labor so she has room to step in. You can't do the work of two people. And I've mentioned this in a previous video where if you're always the one trying, no matter how the relationship's going, she seems to still care, but you're always the one putting in more effort. You know it, I know it. We've all been there in this kind of dynamic. She's just there holding on. Maybe you're providing for her. Maybe everything just seems smooth sailing covered, right? But you know in the back of your mind, you probably don't tell anybody about it. When people ask you how is everything, you say it's good. But you know deep down that it doesn't seem right. Something is off because you're the one more emotionally invested into her. It should not be like that. It's not supposed to be like that. And I'm making this video to save you from headaches in the future because it will. If you don't see it now, the signs, you will eventually see it later on. The more emotionally invested you are into her, as it grows, as you start getting more feelings, as you start getting deeper in love, you are thinking it's mutual, but you already knew back then it wasn't, but you kept letting it go on further and further. When you stop filling every gap, she starts noticing the gap. It's not until you start pulling back a little bit and stop doing all the work of two people. You stop reacting immediately, she starts to feel the silence. The moment she starts feeling that something is missing, the moment she feels like something is off, that's when investment begins. Does that make sense? I want you guys to understand this verbatimly from what I said. The moment she starts feeling something missing is when emotional investment begins. Think about it like this. If you're always the one initiating the conversation, checking the temperature, seeing how she's doing, making sure things are okay. You're always the one asking, making sure, but you don't really get that energy back. You don't really get that investment back. And you brush it to the side because you're a man. You don't let it faze you, right? You just like, it's whatever. You think that's what you have to do as a man. You have other duties as a man. That's not your job. Because you're out here making sure everything is okay. But she never gets to ask herself, where do I stand with him? It's always something, because you are handling every box. You are checking every list. You are making sure there's no distance. There's no room for growth, or you're making sure that there's no gap. Maybe because of a past relationship, you weren't doing as much effort, so you think you have to do more now. No. Because the moment you're calm, present, you're not over explaining, she starts to ask that question. Does that make sense? Like I mentioned in the beginning, this is not about playing games, but you will start to see, once you stop doing those things that you were doing, she begins to ask you these questions. And that internal question is emotional investment. So what you can actually do, I'm gonna make it clear and very simple. You don't disappear, you don't play games. You don't disappear, you don't play cold. You don't ignore her out of ego. If you need help more about understanding how to ignore her without playing games, you should watch that video up here. But what you simply do is you stop overshowing. Simple. You stop doing way too much. Examples being, you respond, but you're not chasing. You engage, but you don't over clarify. You show interest without having to prove anything. What that balance tells her is that I'm here, but I'm not holding this together by myself. This works because when she realizes she has to meet you emotionally, something shifts. She becomes more expressive. She's more curious. Now questions are starting to come and pop up in her head. She's more intentional. Not because you demanded it though, but because you created space for it. Does that make sense? That's the difference between attraction that feels forced and attraction that feels natural. This is where you set your authority without begging at all. Because if you're tired of feeling like you're always the one carrying the connection, when you stop trying to earn investment and start allowing it, the dynamic changes. And if this made something click for you, you're not alone. This is part of dating that most men never understand or never were taught. So remember, breathe, leave room for space, leave room for growth. Don't fill all the gaps in, especially if you know you're always the one doing a little bit more. It shouldn't be like the dynamic has to switch. So it starts with you. It starts with you letting her be emotionally invested. It starts with you letting her carry certain responsibilities. You can't do the work of two people, and I've mentioned this before in a previous video. So guys, this is how you make a woman invest emotionally. Remember, stay calm. Let there be room for growth, especially if you're doing all the work. You can't do the work of two people. So understand that you have to give her space. You have to give her a reason to ask genuine questions, to be curious about what's going on. But you're not pulling back in a way where you're falling all the way back over here or over there. You're staying centered, very clear and directional, but you're not over explaining. You're not over investing. You're leaving room for growth. You're leaving room for her to invest. Guys, if this video helped you, please leave a like so this video can reach the people who need to hear this. Subscribe if you're new here. I go by the name CXM. Hopefully this video helped. And like always, guys, remember, clarity in mind, discipline in motion. You got this. Don't overthink it. Be intentional. Be clear. Remember, a relationship is supposed to be mutual. You have certain responsibilities that you must provide, and a woman does as well. You can't do the work of two people. So if you want her to invest emotionally, this is how you do it. And like always, guys, clarity in mind, discipline in motion. If you want to watch how to make a woman pursue you, you can watch this video right here. And until next time, guys, remember, you got this. Don't overthink it. Love y'all, man.